Kick-Ass was and still is like the Marvel equivalent of Watchmen.
Yeah.
It's more juvenile, but, you know, it's Marvel. Marvel is kind of not as poetic as DC.
But unlike Watchmen, the Kick-Ass sequel is out with such stars as Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Chloë Grace Moretz, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, and Jim Carrey.
Yeah, no, they're very star-studded casts in this
Big
one.
names.
To clarify, this is the least Marvel movie. So if you're taking your kids to go see a movie, you know, a superhero movie, that's nice.
Besides that Howard the Duck that came out with duck tits.
Stop!
Yeah.
This Marvel movie has gore-filled violence, sexual content, and extreme language.
It's awesome.
But that being said, there is something, no pun intended, kick-ass about it.
Yeah. So does this mature Marvel movie succeed from its predecessor, or will it flop like most sequels that come out?
Kick-ass or ass kicked?
That doesn't even make sense.
All on this episode of The Pop Cult.
Okay, so no pun intended, but this movie was kick-ass.
Oh, I love this movie. I think I preferred it more than the first one.
Oh yeah, I definitely did it as well.
I don't know. I like there was something in the first one, Nicolas Cage, that just made me feel like I like it, but I kind of not like it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was still good. I loved it, but it was still like that little bit of there was a little bit in me that was like, you know, it doesn't grab me as much as Watchmen, and with that whole political element.
Yeah, as well, because like Super came out the same year, right?
Yeah,
and I like Super way more than first Kick-Ass.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just my opinion, it's just more mature. And it's funny because James Gunn's coming to do Guardians now, which is really weird. But yeah, I think this second movie was like much more mature in that sense than the first one, you know. But like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of weird comical shit in it.
Oh yes, yeah.
Very immature, lowbrow stuff.
That, I mean, I don't mind in Kick-Ass because it's like, well, it is Marvel. They're kind of like, there's still that kind of upbeat sense, even if through everything.
Even
it's
like
still,
through
it's
all
still
the dark
kind of,
stuff.
It's still kind of just like, hey, we're cheery and stuff like that.
Yeah, like, I read the comic Kick-Ass 2 before I went and saw this film, and it's like, they're both quite similar.
Yeah, well...
The thing is, like, with Kick-Ass 2, like, the writing from the director Jeff Wadlow, who directed and wrote it, he, like, kind of, like, twisted it. If fans from the comic would know, like, I know this part's coming up, but then he changed it around slightly, and you're like, that was kind of funny.
Alright.
Because he messed with that expectations.
Well, I mean, like...
So I guess that's kind of good.
The one thing I liked about, like, Kick-Ass is like that kind of element because like I've read the first Kick-Ass, not the second one, but the first one is really, really dark. But I kind of felt it was for no reason, and I really didn't like that aspect.
They portray the films in such a light that it's like comical and like light-hearted, and like where the comics is like straight up reality.
Yeah.
Pure realism, and some of the stuff in like the first and second book are really, really dark, man.
Yeah,
and it's kind of why it's kind of like it's not a Marvel thing, but it's kind of like an offshoot of Marvel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I did kind of feel that because, I mean, when I was watching Kick-Ass 2, there were bits where I just felt, I really kind of feel uncomfortable watching this, even though it's like it's not the goriest or the most like nail-biting thing I've ever seen. They're still trying to go with like that comic book kind of feel to it, and it's like this is not comic book material anymore. It's more graphic novel, dark kind of stuff now, and I don't think they kind of went with that feel to it, and I think that was lost potential, but it's still good.
Yeah. Well, like, I think like probably the best part of this movie though was Jim Carrey.
Oh yes,
hands down as Colonel Stars and Stripes.
Yes.
It's really funny because this is one part. Spoilers. He takes off his mask and he has like all the prosthetic makeup on, and you couldn't even tell if that was him. It was like,
Yeah, no, I did like his character.
Great.
I loved his character.
Yeah.
I thought he was probably.
And he didn't play like the whole Jim Carrey stereotype thing. Some crazy fucking wacky Canadian guy.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
played like this kind of like New York kind of
Yeah.
Stars and Stripes.
Yeah, Colonel Stars and Stripes, born again Christian.
Hey, don't swear.
Yeah, do not take the Lord's name in vain.
Very serious character.
Yeah, no, I really loved
Yeah.
his total portrayal of the character, because I thought he was going to be very lively.
That's
And
what
it's
I
like,
mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like Jim Carrey as
Yeah, Jim
Ghost Rider.
Carrey
It's like,
was-
oh, so it's going to be like a lively movie.
He was some
And
mask guy.
yeah, yeah. But
no, I
he was a
the
very
way-
dark character.
Really like
and-
the way he portrayed that.
So yeah, I definitely thought.
I do wish there was a little bit more of him though. He's not in the film.
Yes, he's not in the film very much, but
Yeah, this story is definitely more of a hit girl story than, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
More so than a kick-ass. It's mainly centered on the Chloë Grace Moretz character and how she's growing up.
yes, like.
Did you like the stuff with her about her growing up? How she was like that part with like those girls that let's do bath salts and shit like that.
Yeah, no, I laughed at that because I was just like, okay,
What?
yeah, this is fucking weird.
Yeah, but there's a lot of her growing up, like as a teenage girl, you know, like discovering boys and like
yeah,
One Direction and shit
yeah,
like that.
I kind of like, I don't know what it was, but I just like, I could understand, I could relate, I could kind of like connect with this character, but it was like, I'm fucking bored out of my mind. I don't want to listen to these fucking teenage problems in this.
Yeah, it's funny how like
I don't mind them in
yeah.
in comic book movies, but I mean, if they just there's like a certain point where I'm just
Yeah,
like,
I haven't
it's
like
just
we haven't read the
boring.
Hit Girl comic because I don't know if that's in that. It could be.
no, it could be.
So I don't know because I heard that they fused the Hit Girl comic with the Kick-Ass 2 comic and put it together.
Well, there we go.
Because a lot in the Kick-Ass 2 comic, like none of that shit's in there.
Mm.
So I don't know. But yeah, what'd you give this film?
This film is a final verdict. I'd probably give it a 7.5. I mean, I loved it. I loved the pacing of it.
Yeah.
I thought everything was good. Just like I wanted to see more Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
I wanted to see less Hit Girl. I wanted to see more characterization on more heroes.
I went to this movie really like expecting a lot from it because I recently read the comic. I also watched the first one, rewatched the first one again, and I think like my expectations were like succeeded, and I really liked this. So I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10.
No problem.
But yeah, there definitely is some problems with it. It's a bit too immature. It's stuck in its own limbo of like
Yeah,
reality and like cartoonism. It just doesn't know what it's trying to be.
Yeah,
Some parts like spoiler alert. There's this thing called like a shit stick or something.
Yeah.
Like how Hit Girl Min McCready makes these like bullying fucking
Girls.
chicks shit themselves like violently.
Yeah,
And it was just like, I don't know if this is in the Hit Girl comic, but like that's really out there.
I really hated how it's like it had the juvenile humor,
Yeah.
but it also had the really graphic violence, and I'm like,
Yeah.
alright, I'd expect that from something like Deadpool, where it's based
Yeah.
all around that, but the comics kind of based itself around its own.
Yeah.
What if superheroes were real?
Yeah.
What if they were actually real, ordinary people going out doing ordinary things
Yeah.
that they could help with?
I think like a lot of that stuff that like they really did show that in a really positive light. How they would go into like the
Soup kitchens.
soup
and-
kitchens and just going on like patrol and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, that's good because that's actually what someone would do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a pretty good movie, and I think
Yeah.
it was better than the first one.
Yep.
So that's our Kick-Ass 2 review. If you liked it, click subscribe, and you can see more shit videos that we do.
And tell us, guys, have you read the Kick-Ass comics? Have you read the Hit Girl comics? Do you think they the comics the films did justice to the comics? Let us know.
Yeah, no problem. And then keep up to date with us.